At 82, Eleanor Widmore had grown accustomed to a life measured in quiet routines. Her small coastal home in Maine was a sanctuary, walls lined with books, the faint scent of roses drifting from her garden into the living room. For years, she had lived alone, her husband gone 16 years prior, leaving her to navigate the complexities of old age with a mixture of grace and resignation. Her children visited, but they had families of their own, and Eleanor had learned to fill the empty spaces with books, music, and the occasional letters from friends who had long since moved away. It was on an ordinary, rainy afternoon that her life unexpectedly shifted. Eleanor was scrolling through a classical music forum, commenting occasionally on pieces she loved, when she noticed a comment that caught her attention. It was from a man named Daniel Cole, a 39-year-old from Boston, whose words were thoughtful and unexpectedly insightful. He wrote not just about music, but about the emotions it stirred and the memories it evoked. Eleanor replied, cautiously at first, but the reply sparked a series of exchanges. Messages turned into long conversations. Eleanor found herself sharing stories she hadn't told anyone for years, memories of her youth, the laughter she had shared with her husband, the grief that had quietly shaped her life. Daniel reciprocated, speaking of his own struggles, his childhood marked by loneliness, and his journey through self-discovery. Their connection deepened as each realized that, despite the 43-year age gap, they shared a mutual understanding of loss, resilience, and longing for genuine companionship. After 2 months, Daniel asked if he could visit. Eleanor hesitated, her mind clouded with uncertainty. The age gap seemed insurmountable in the eyes of the world, but within her heart, there was curiosity, a flicker of hope she hadn't felt in decades. When she finally agreed, she wondered if the connection they had nurtured online could survive the reality of a first meeting. The day he arrived, the rain had stopped, leaving the air crisp and fragrant. Daniel stood on her porch, holding a small bouquet of wildflowers. Eleanor's heart skipped a beat, not from shock at the difference in age, but from the warmth emanating from this young man who somehow felt familiar. They spoke over tea, words flowing with ease, laughter spilling into the room as if they had known each other forever. Later, they walked through her garden, the sky painted in pastel hues of dusk. Each moment felt natural, almost destined, as if the universe had conspired to bring them together. And when Daniel hugged her goodbye, Eleanor felt a spark, a delicate, terrifying spark, of something she had thought impossible at her age. She realized she cared for him in a way that transcended logic, a quiet acknowledgement that this connection, fragile yet profound, had the potential to redefine the last chapters of her life. In the weeks that followed, Daniel's visits became frequent. Their days were spent in simple companionship, cooking together, reading side by side, and talking late into the night about dreams, regrets, and the small joys that made life meaningful. Eleanor discovered a vitality in his presence that she hadn't felt in decades, while Daniel found a calm, grounding force in Eleanor that gave him peace and a sense of belonging. Yet, love, especially one as unconventional as theirs, never exists without scrutiny. The first whispers came from neighbors who noticed Daniel leaving Eleanor's house late in the evening. Concerned friends and family voiced their doubts, unable to reconcile the reality of an 82-year-old woman with a man less than half her age. Eleanor's daughter confronted her one afternoon, her eyes full of disbelief. And worry. "Mom, he's younger than me. What does he want from you?" she asked. Eleanor felt a pang of guilt but responded softly. "He wants companionship, and so do I. Isn't that enough?" Daniel faced similar challenges. His colleagues mocked him, calling it a grandmother romance, and even his family questioned his intentions. But he stood firm, refusing to let the world dictate the boundaries of his heart. "She treated me with kindness before she even saw my face," he said. "That is more than enough reason to care for someone." Despite the external pressures, their bond deepened. One evening, sitting on the porch as the sun sank into the horizon, Daniel took Eleanor's hand and spoke the truth he had been holding in his heart. "I don't care what the world says. You've given me a home inside your heart. I won't give that up." Tears filled Eleanor's eyes, a mix of joy and relief, as she realized that for the first time in decades, she had been chosen, not out of obligation, but out of genuine love and respect. Eventually, they decided to document their journey, wanting to show the world that love is not defined by age. The cameras captured their laughter, their quiet moments, and the courage it took to face judgment and misunderstanding. The documentary became a testament to resilience, authenticity, and the human heart's capacity for connection. In the final scene, they sat together on Eleanor's porch, the setting sun casting a warm glow over her white hair and his steady presence beside her. No words were needed. The quiet harmony of their companionship spoke volumes. Their story, unconventional and challenging, proved that love, when rooted in respect, empathy, and connection, transcends the rigid constructs of society and time.